Welcome back to News Wrap, friends. Tensions flaring up between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The countries accusing each other of violating a ceasefire agreement over a disputed region internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but governed by Armenians. This comes after weeks of deadly fighting between the two countries, with approximately 600 people killed, many more wounded. Joining us now, friend of the show, Hajjar Chemali, CEO of Greenwich Media Strategies. Hajjar, great to see you, my friend. Let's start more broadly here. For those not following this conflict, there is a long history of tension between the two countries, religion playing a huge role. How did we get here, and what are they fighting over?
Well, first, Hannah, thank you so much for having me and for covering this topic. It is a very important one. Believe it or not, this issue dates back centuries, but the issue that you have now, if you can believe it, is thanks to Joseph Stalin when he was creating the Soviet Union. This was always an enclave populated and controlled by ethnic Armenians. They've been there for thousands of years. And then when he was creating the Soviet Union, he promised them independence, but because he wanted Turkey to support the Soviet Union, he promised Turkey that it would be within Azerbaijan. Now, during the Soviet Union, they didn't really have many issues because they were really all within the same group. But once the Soviet Union collapsed is when you had problems. The ethnic Armenians of this area wanted independence, and they wanted to join Armenia. And that sparked a war. So that war ended in 1994. 30,000 people were killed. It was a very bloody war, but it never ended in a peace treaty. And so you've had efforts to reach a peace treaty led by Russia, the US, and France, but they've never resulted in one. And as a result, you've had these, random flare-ups and skirmishes. And you've had some flare-ups and skirmishes over the summer that ran into what we have now, which is the fighting that you've seen over the last few weeks.
I don't mean to simplify this, Hajjar, but I'm having a hard time understanding why is all this resurfacing now? As you mentioned, this has been going on for decades.
Right, and we still don't know exactly what triggered the fighting that we're seeing now. The problem is, though, at the end of the day, that this isn't just two sides fighting over a piece of land. This is about an ethnic community, the Armenians who live there, who are literally fighting for their survival. And now you have Turkey involved, and Turkey is a very big part of this. Turkey has fueled this conflict. They've reportedly sent Syrian mercenaries there. I say reportedly, except that we've already seen the deaths of a few of them, so it's pretty much fact that they're there. And that's made it even worse, and that's what makes the situation so incredibly dangerous.
You mentioned Turkey openly backing Azerbaijan, Russia supplying Armenia with arms. Talk to us about the global implications here, Hajjar.
Sure. So Turkey, the role that Turkey plays is very important because they have been sending not only Syrian foreign fighters, but also they've, like you said, they've backed Azerbaijan. They have sent weapons, F-16s. Azerbaijan denies that they've used those F-16s against this enclave, but that's, it's hard to believe. But and so Turkey is actively fueling this. The reason that is so incredibly dangerous, aside from the fact that when you send foreign fighters to any conflict, it's dangerous, is the fact that in the minds of the Armenians that live there is the 1915 genocide perpetrated by the Turkish Ottoman regime. So when you have the Turkish government allying with Azerbaijan to fight Armenians there, and when you have President Erdogan, who over the summer said some rhetoric that was incredibly disturbing and chilling about saying that, these are the, quote, remnants of the sword, and that they want to finish off the job that their ancestors did, it makes this all the more scary. So that's the role of Turkey. You also have Russia is involved. Now, Russia wants to see an end to violence. They don't have any interest in this bubble. Armenia is their close friend. They share tight Christian ties. And at the same time, they're friends with Azerbaijan, so they're not going to want to twist Azerbaijan's arm too much, but they don't want to see violence get worse in that corner, and they're trying to play a leading mediating role.
It seems like I'm getting off topic here, but stick with me, Hajjar. Cardi B has supported the Armenian cause, later backtracked after all the backlash. Kim Kardashian has donated $1 million to the Armenia Fund. We're seeing so many public figures discuss this openly, but this seems to be a crisis that Western media isn't really addressing or covering. Why do you think that is?
I really believe that fundamentally that the Western media that isn't covering this doesn't understand how important it is. I think they don't understand, number one, how dangerous it is, that it could actually explode and become a long-standing conflict that could result in serious deaths. In particular, you're talking about 150,000 people. That's not a lot of people. That's unfortunately an easy target for Azerbaijan and Turkey when they're teamed up together. So I think they don't understand that, but they also don't understand that this affects us here in the United States, for example, right? If we're talking about American media in particular, you're talking about, number one, relationships with the only democratic nodule in that corner of the world, Armenia, which is surrounded by Turkey, Russia, Iran, right? You're talking about us, the United States provides security assistance and sells arms to Azerbaijan. That's not what it's intended for. So they need to know that. And the third and most important, I would argue, is that Turkey is on a rampage of bad behavior, right? And including the United States. Let's not forget that they attacked protesters in front of the Turkish embassy in Washington a few years ago. So if you allow Turkey to behave that way, they're going to think they can get away with it. And that's why it's so important. But I think that fundamentally, understanding all those nuances and the history is just not grasped by most of the Western media.
I think you're absolutely right. This is so complicated. I think a lot of Americans don't understand it. Thank you for coming on and breaking it all down. Hajjar Chemali, CEO of Greenwich Media Strategies. We always appreciate your time, Hajjar. Thank you so much.